Oh no. Hold on, you guys. Queenie, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, nephew. Hold on. Amantha, try to come in again. Amantha, try to come in again. Um, I am here, but it's not possible. Are you on your laptop, Amantha, or your phone? Okay. You should have been able to just push that button and accept, or you can just invite yourself. You see the buttons at the bottom. You can ask, "Can you come in?" Hey, Jackie. Yeah, I'm back, but my cousin's not back. Um, Hello, Kenny Bone. Nice to meet you. All right then. Well, we're gonna have to hold that topic until you can get on, because I can't do that topic without you. But I will talk about my little brother Amantha says you need the Geek Squad. But it's those buttons at the bottom, and all you had to do was invite yourself at this point, since you couldn't push that button, and then I could have got you on. So as he said, we got to do a trial next time, but I don't understand where those buttons are, because that's the only way we're going to be able to connect you. But if you're talking, if you're on and it's green, I can just invite you that way, but I don't even see you being green. I'm sorry. So we'll just have to try another time. So I'm going to go on with the callers I have, because we had so many on the first one. I don't want them to give up on I'm Still a Rose. But I wanted to talk to you guys, since I don't have we're not going to talk about the broken vessel. We're going to talk about that when I can get my cousin online. Don't say that, little brother. Stop. Okay. We're not talking about the broken vessel. He keeps giving me off subject, you guys. But we can talk about the booty call. Okay. I just got off an interview, a very good one, with Bianca Fly. I'm sure I'll have the interview later later in another week or so, and I will share it online so that you all can have the link. But it's important that women know where they stand. It's important. I love you too. It is important that we raise the bar. It is important that we let people know that are in our lives that enough is enough. We deserve so much more than this. So one of the callers asked a very good question. Why can't we, when we know something isn't right in our lives, why do we stay in it? And do you think it's just because the sex? Well, no, there are a lot of reasons why people stay in bad relationships. They like the way they live. They like the finances that the person brings in. Sex is just one factor. But a lot of times it could just be sex. And Bianca, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. It was such a pleasure to be on your show. And Queenie says, no, not the sex. Yes. Hey, Miss Wilson. We do need to talk about sex. When it comes to devaluing who we are and who we stand for. Why can't we just wait, hold off until we know it's the right thing to do with the right person that's going to be in our life? I know it sounds corny. I know a lot of you are saying, no, I got to get mine. I got to do what I got to do. I can't function without it. Yes, you can. Because if we don't put a stop, women, if we don't put a stop to men devaluing us, thank you, finally. If we don't put a stop to men devaluing us, we're not going to be fulfilled in our lives. And it's going to be a vicious cycle where they're going to continue to do this with everybody. Cross the other way, cuz. You all crooked. Yeah, there you go. Woo! Thank you, Jesus. So we're going to hold the booty call conversation, but probably my cousin, Reverend Amantha Barbee, can help us pull that in to the broken vessel, because that is one reason why we're accepting people to do that to us, is because we're broken vessels. And what do we say about broken vessels? Brokenness begets brokenness. So here we have, without further ado, she's here. Praise the Lord. My cousin is here from Charlotte, North Carolina, and she is here in the flesh. She didn't know which button to push, but she found it. She pushed that button. Woo!
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Y'all,
And why you don't want the preacher to talk about the booty call? I
yes. Can
can.
we start a little bit about how we can get beyond the booty call and how that all goes into this broken vessel? And thank you, cousin, for being with us tonight. I am so honored to have you on Still a Rose in spite of it all. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. It is wonderful to be here. I am just honored to be here with my cousin, who is beautiful, and we have grown so much
Yes.
together over the past few years. And cousin, I think it's important for the folk to know that we haven't always known each
Yes.
other.
Oh my God. Could I tell them a little bit of how we met?
Go
Okay, not
ahead.
how we met, because we always knew of each other. But my dad died, and she was the big one, the talk, the leader in the group, even though I'm the oldest one out of the three. And she said, we gotta get to know each other. We have to bond. We shouldn't always meet under circumstances like this, like a burial service. And I said, you're right. So she said, I'm gonna plan the trip and let's just go. So we went to Puerto Rico. Lord have
Oh
mercy.
no, you
Woo,
went right to Puerto
did
Rico.
we bond? We have been connected since Puerto Rico, and Daddy died in 1999. That my daddy is her first cousin, so that makes us second cousins. But my daddy's dad, and her father were brothers, and that's our connection. So it ain't no fake two Barbies coming together talking about they cousins. We are blood cousins, and she means the world to me. She's like a little sister to me, and I love her dearly. She dresses me, she keeps me in line, and I believe I do the same with her. And we can lay in a
Absolutely.
bed and talk all night. We don't sleep in different rooms. We sleep together, and we just laugh until the wee hours of the morning. I love her dearly, and I'm so, so grateful that she's here to join us tonight, because she's going to have a lot to say to us. So, without further ado, and tell them about your church and what you're doing there, and let's get right on to the booty call.
I am the pastor at Statesville Avenue Presbyterian Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. I also serve as the chairperson for Charlotte Clergy Coalition for Justice in the city of Charlotte, where we deal with social unrest and the politics of the mess, if you will. We go about cleaning up the city and loving one another and making sure we're living into our
Yeah.
brokenness. And what cousin didn't tell you is when we met, oh, we were clean, boy. We were probably the best dressed people
Yes.
at the funeral. But I think we were also two broken
Yes.
vessels,
Absolutely.
and we grew
Yes, we
together.
did.
You got to have your sisters in the fight that understand you, that you can trust. Y'all, we got to trust each other. I just saw Lynette Luster Harris sign on. Hey, sister, that is my sister
Oh,
from
hey
college.
there.
And she met me in a little brokenness too, and we
Mm-hmm.
need each other. We've got to be honest with each other. So what's a broken vessel? What is a broken vessel? Think about a flower vase with a crack in it.
Mm-hmm.
That can be the most beautiful vase in the world, but if it's got a crack in it, the water's going to run out. And that's how our spirits are
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. We can look good, because you know, my dad said, you remember what he said, Tonya? He said, a little powder, a little paint make a girl what
That's
she ain't.
right. That's right.
So we can
Yes,
look
we
good.
hide very well behind the makeup. That's exactly right. That's a sermon in
Oh,
itself.
yeah. A little
Yes,
powder, a little paint make a
that's
girl what
right.
she ain't. So we get to the point where we master the disguise, but our souls and our spirits are just screaming inside
Mm-hmm.
because we're not whole people. So we go about making stupid mistakes because we're not whole ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing you want to do is to offer yourself as a whole vessel and you got cracks in your soul.
Mm.
I've watched cousins' Facebook lives for weeks now. We're talking about the mistakes we make and the the booty calls we
Mm-hmm.
answer, the bad decisions we make. Why do we make them? Because we're not full ourselves. If we're not complete ourselves, we will do that. Because everything we put in is just running out the other end, just running out the other end. And I told Tonya when she invited me, I said, now you are inviting the preacher. So I'm going to preach a
Mm-hmm.
little bit tonight, but I keep it real too because I haven't always
Mm-hmm.
been a preacher.
That's right. In Puerto Rico, there was no preachers. Okay, okay, okay. I will behave, okay?
We were praying together to grow. We had another cousin on that trip with us. I don't think she's
No, she
recovered
has
yet.
not. Woo!
So if you look at Psalm 31 and start at verse 11, it says, I am the scorn of all my adversaries, a horror to my neighbors, an object of dread to my acquaintances. Those who see me in the street flee from me. I have passed out of my mind like one who is dead. I have become a broken vessel. For I hear the whispering of many, terror all around, as they scheme together against me, as they plot to take my life. So let's start there, cousin. What is plotting to take our lives?
I think that's everybody who is not doing us service. The men that are coming in our lives with the intention of doing just the booty call, seeing children in the house, not caring about that. He's on his mission and she's waiting to fulfill that mission, but she knows that's wrong. And there's a vicious cycle where we're continuously hurting ourselves by allowing other people to hurt us.
Why do we allow other people to hurt us?
I well,
Convenience?
Bianca says, I remember walking around smiling one day and everyone was saying, oh, you look so nice today. But inside, I was 2 seconds from bursting out in tears because of the hurt I was carrying.
Yes. And we carry so much hurt and pain. And a lot of it stems from hiding behind lies.
Mm-hmm.
We're not telling the truth. That's why I say you need your sisters, because sometimes you need to be able to just tell your truth. And that's one thing I admire about
Mm-hmm.
cousin. And I am still a rose. She put her truth on
Mm-hmm.
paper. I hadn't gotten that bold yet, because I'm not going to tell about Puerto Rico. But cousin was bold enough to put her reality,
Mm-hmm.
her truth on paper. Why? Because it helped her to get the things out of her vessel that didn't need to be there. It's hard to fill up something that has something already in it. You've got to empty your vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And if it has a crack in it, you have to repair that crack. And the only way to repair it is to empty it. Because as long as it's trying to hold liquid, it's not going to dry. You got to work that out. So, as we said at the beginning, Tonya and I met at a time that we both were broken,
Mm-hmm.
but we knew how to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we talked, we realized the more we were full of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we started being honest with each other.
That's
We
right.
talked
We did.
about, we talked about, yeah, we talked about relationships. I think I was on my first of two marriages,
Mm-hmm.
not sure. I don't know. I have so many. Um, we we talked about relationships, and we were able to be honest with out the part we played. Now we may not have been at the level or the readiness to talk to the whole world about it at that point, but we talked about it to each other.
Mm-hmm. We did.
And we started calling each other, and we started making each other accountable for the bad decisions we were making.
We did. And we still do that.
It's like, why are you doing that,
And
cousin?
we still do
Yeah,
that.
we still do that.
Absolutely. Cousin William says, I think lots of us walk around with a mask to hide the pain that lives in us. And and he
We
said, I
do.
think it's hurt and loss of self-worth.
I think William is right. If we don't value ourselves, how are we going to value relationships? How are we going to value others? Because love starts at home. And I mean home, your personal
Mm-hmm.
space. So if we're going out looking for a relationship and we're not whole ourselves, we're giving somebody broken. Who wants to give somebody a broken vase, a broken vessel?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? Think about when anybody has sent you flowers. Have you ever received flowers with a broken vase? It
Mm-mm. And we talked about that earlier today on the other interview with Bianca, where I suggested to the ladies on the line, why why don't we love ourselves? Because if we love ourselves, we won't subject ourselves to the abuse that we put ourselves through. But we have to first spend some alone time with ourselves so that we can clean up the damage within. But we don't spend time with ourselves. We are afraid of alone time. And why do you think that is? Because we talked about that earlier tonight.
It's easier to run than to face the mirror.
Mm.
We can see fault in everybody else, but until we get strong enough or have the courage or have the desire to face truth, will we turn to the mirror? We talk about the demons in our lives, oh, the devil made me do it, or it's his fault, or it's her fault. No, look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Be accountable. Start within.
Be accountable
Yes.
to yourself.
Latasha says it begins with not knowing yourself requires a self autopsy, not at today's chapter of your book, but at the preface level. And I agree because it starts at the core. But we spend so much time, he did this to me, he did that to me, that we don't even focus on, you knew he was wrong day one. Why don't we connect the dots at the core, like Latasha said, not here, but at the core of the issue where we know why won't we start within? And how can we get our listeners tonight, our viewers, to get to a place where they are holding themselves accountable, like we have done. Not brown nose and like
Yeah.
we put out the we together now, but we went through that pain and that anguish, and we have accepted our flaws, we have accepted our mistakes. We know what we have to do, and we're doing it. We're working on that. We're being prepared. So what can we do to get everybody on that bandwidth, where they know, where we can get them to understand that's your future. Correcting yourself, be looking in the mirror, taking off the makeup, looking beyond the makeup, and dealing with those flaws so that we can rectify them flaws. What can we do
Mm-hmm.
to get people to understand we got to start there?
Well, cousin, you're not going to see me without my makeup, but however, I get your
Yeah,
point.
you ain't gonna see me without mine either.
But I get your point. Um, it's about honesty and it's about
Yes.
truth. We tell so many lies to ourselves, and then we complain about our partners lying to us.
Right.
We've got to start with the lies we tell ourselves or the excuses we make in the part that we play. It's so much easier to blame somebody else. But that's counterproductive if you are truly seeking wholeness. It's not going to happen at the surface level. We've all got scars. I don't care who you are, where you were raised, with whom you were raised, your parents, it
Right.
doesn't matter. Life brings you
Mm-hmm.
grief.
And that's
And if you live long enough, something's
yes,
going
and
to happen.
that's a key issue you said. Life brings you grief. So that's another key area people gotta understand that it's gonna be up and down. You're gonna go through some stuff. Eh, No time for woe is me, because the moment you get through that issue, there's gonna be two others coming down the road. We're gonna be constantly going through some pain and anguish and heartache. You got so many comments coming in, I can't keep up with them. Bianca says, and some of us refuse to get to know ourselves because we are afraid of what they may feel like. The journey to something different may make us feel all kind of ways and may be uncomfortable, but it's worth it. And we got to believe that. And then Latasha says, primarily just about the same thing here. Sometimes it's unconscious agreements we have with ourselves that go unchecked because we pick things up from our families and friends over the years that are not necessarily the best role model.
Cousin, let me talk about that because we told them how we really got to know each other.
Yes,
Part of the issue why Tonya and I didn't know each other was our families
that's right.
orchestrated that.
That's right.
There's so much
Mm-hmm.
drama in
Mm-hmm.
families, and we try to move each other out of the way so we won't learn
Mm-hmm.
certain things. But I know I have grown
Yes.
tremendously by the relationship I now have with Tonya because I understand some things that I didn't understand before. Family secrets will keep you
Yes.
down. And until you understand where you've been, you cannot get where you are nor figure out where you're going. Because you got to know yourself. And if things are being kept from you or hidden from you, you don't even understand why you are the way you are.
That's so true.
Tanya sat with my mom, what,
Yes.
2 years ago?
She cleared up a lot of stuff.
And she taught you?
All
Yeah.
that he say, she say. I got another side, and then I can weigh as an adult what I take from both sides, but now it's not all one sided. And that was beneficial to me because that cleared up my relationship with the Barbie side. Because I didn't know the Barbies. I really didn't outside besides my dad and my grandparents. And they're an extension of the Barbie family. And just from hearsay, it's up to the younger generations to talk to each other, to ask questions. Don't just go around like the two families on an old movie. I can't remember the name of it. They fought till each all family members.
Hatfields and
Yes,
McCoy.
they didn't even know why they were fighting. Well, somebody's got to take a stand in these younger generations to make a difference and to get beyond that, because we have strengthened our relationship, and we, like she said, we know our flaws, but we're working on our flaws. We even talk about our flaws. We know them so well now, it's pathetic. We also know it's got something to do on the Barbie side, so it's their blood that did it to us, but we have recognized it, and we're trying to rectify it. And we're not saying, woe is me. He did this, she did this, he did that, mama did this, daddy did. We are recognizing we play a role in all of these issues. And it's our place to make a difference. We're not waiting on somebody else to do something. Because if we did that, nothing would ever change. Everything would still be the same.
No.
Wait, you got some more comments. Um, William says you have to love yourself first. And Latasha added, it's an assumption that what we have seen or learned is right. And that is so true.
Yeah.
And we'll go by that and know something don't feel right, but everybody else is doing it. So it becomes a habit. And that's why I'm concerned about these booty calls with little children in the mix, because we're teaching them bad behavior when they see men coming in and out of our homes, or women coming in and out of our homes, and the children are watching that. And what do you think they're doing? Can't wait till they are in the same opportunity to have a man coming in their home in and out. And the guy, the young man, our son, is saying, oh, I can't wait to do that to the women in my lives. Now I see how they do it. So it's a vicious cycle. And we're only doing that because our vessels are empty. And I'm hoping um, my cousin can help us to fill those vessels and seal them so that they're no longer empty while we're in relationships, so that we can move beyond the pain, fix that pain, and become happy. So help us with that, please.
You know what happens is when we finally realize that our vessels are broken, we become ashamed.
Yes.
And we saw all of the thumbs up and hearts when we said everybody has scars.
Yes.
But there's something within that won't allow us to say, I've got some scars. I need to work on me.
Yes.
So we put that broken vessel, we don't throw it away. We put that broken vessel under the cabinet and close the door
Right.
because we're ashamed
Hmm.
of it. Especially if company's coming, we put that vessel
Yes,
aside
we do.
because we're embarrassed. Now, my question to all of you who are gathered tonight, why are you embarrassed about something that everybody has? That's like me being embarrassed that I have a nose.
That's true.
Everybody's got one. You show me a perfect person and I'll show you a
Mm-hmm.
liar. We all have work to do. We all need to dig deep and we need to be honest with self. That's the hardest thing in the world to do. If we look good, if we carry ourselves in a certain way, then all of a sudden everything's fine. But I think it was Latasha that said I think it was Bianca that said earlier, we're just dying
Mm-hmm.
inside.
We are.
So what's that going to do in the long run? It's going to cause sickness
Yes.
because we cannot function. We absolutely cannot function if we are stressed out, if we're angry, and we're good at hiding anger, if we don't talk about it, if you can't talk about it, if you don't have a Tonya Barbee or you don't have an Amantha Barbee to talk about it, find somebody. Find somebody to talk to. Because we think also that we can handle everything by ourselves. We cannot. We cannot handle it by ourselves, or we'd be on the earth by ourselves. That goes back to the beginning of time when Adam needed a helpmate.
Mm-hmm.
God said, you're not made to be alone. We are not made to be alone. We're not made to handle these trials and tribulations alone. It's unnecessary. But we keep trying to do our best. We keep trying to work. We keep trying to um, get ahead in life, but it's like walking with a broken leg. And the key element of this, people, is that people see you limping.
Mm-hmm.
You think they don't see it, but you've got on a high heel shoe and a Birkenstock. Everybody sees it.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to deal with our mess
Um,
because we do see it.
Bianca says a lot of women here in North Carolina have been seeing the consequences of these men in and out of their homes with their children there. A lot of women have seen the damage that this has caused their teenage daughters. We have had several families whose young teens began to act out because of the mother's boyfriends or nighttime friends coming in and out and leading to bad situations. Yes, we can't function with the weight of the world on our backs. That's deep.
But we keep trying. But we keep. Bianca, what part of North Carolina are you in? Do you know,
Mm-mm.
cousin?
I just know North Carolina. She'll come in. Um,
But my brother has a saying. He says that we are raising adults, we're not raising children. So if you are being that example for your child, they're going to become that type of adult.
yes.
So do we want that responsibility? Do we want that blood on our hands that we have raised that person to abuse their partner, to lie to their partner, to not communicate with their partner, to run from the truth with our partner? Is that what we want to raise? So in our self-denial, Asheville, oh, I
Wow.
love Asheville. When we are doing that to our children, is that what you want to do? The children don't see it. Yes, they do. The children don't hear it. Yes, they do. The children don't know what's going on. Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
they do.
So you think about that as as an adult trying to fool your kids. Kids are smarter than we are. We have too much mess
Mm-hmm.
in our heads.
William says kids will mimic what they see us doing and what they see us doing in our homes. That's exactly right. They do. And we have a responsibility, and that's why it's even more important for us to fix us. And I know you're saying, well, how I'm not, I don't have money for a therapist. I don't have, I feel like I got fixed when I was in that mental institution for 7 days. And my nephew said, Antonia, are you in here with crazy people? I said, oh my Lord, where do they have me? I was in a daze, you guys. I was fixated. I didn't know where I was. I just know the doctor, as I'm carrying my baby girl who's now about to be a nurse, she was in my belly. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I was losing my mind from all that pain. And I knew the moment that young nephew of mine said, Aunt Tanya, you in here with the crazy people. I knew then I had to make a choice. Either I stay here with the crazy people, that I was one of them, or I move beyond that pain as expeditiously as I can. And what am I going to do to get there? Even my dad called and said, Barbie's ain't got no crazy people in the crazy house. Those were his. Yes, he
No,
did. Yes, he did call me at the hospital. Said,
that's
you got to
not
come up
true.
out of there, girl. I ain't coming in there to see you. I'm like, oh my gosh. But what that taught me was I'm either going to be here or I'm going to be there. And I got kids to take care of, and I had to get my life together. And that was my determination at that point, that I had to clean me up. I still made mistakes, but I put the onus on me that I had to be responsible for some of the mess that I was creating, because mess can't come to you without your approval. Don't you agree with that, cousin?
I do.
The mess
I
that
do.
adults get in, we signed up for it. I don't understand why we can't disconnect from that. And but I'm hard on people because I'm hard on me. So if I'm too hard, just tell me, Tanya, you don't understand. I got it. William says we got plenty of morals and hotels. If a man can't afford to take you to one, be respectful of your home. You need to not even give him the time of day. I agree, William. I agree.
Exactly. A man that doesn't respect your kids is not going to respect you.
Absolutely.
And again, that goes back to self-respect.
Yes.
We can put up with a lot of things. It's up to us. We have a choice. You have a choice of who comes in your house and
That's
who does not.
absolutely correct. And raising that bar.
You have a choice of where you go and where you don't go.
Absolutely. But the fear,
And you say you're hard on people, cousin. You're not hard on people. You have self-respect.
right. But I had to get there, cousin. And that's what we talked about tonight with Bianca and her folks, her guests. Um, the bar has risen, and I'm not sacrificing, compromising that bar anymore in life. But I did. And a lot of us do that out of loneliness, fear, out of losing what we think we had. We don't know that how to keep that bar where it's supposed to be. We compromise a lot, and the people that are victimizing us know we're compromising, and all they do is take advantage of a disadvantage, and it just gets worse. It just gets worse.
A bully knows who he or she can bully.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you're in a bully relationship, shame
Yes,
on you.
absolutely.
Is that good enough for you? Is that what you really want, or are you making excuses?
Absolutely.
We can justify anything. And I sit here a preacher. I can go to the Bible and justify it. Just flip through the scriptures a little bit. You'll find something, take it out of context, and it works.
Exactly. Justified.
But we deal in
Yes.
truth. What is the truth?
So how do you recommend we fix our broken vessels? What steps can you give those that are online tonight that need to be mended? What advice can you give us?
I would start with a piece of paper. And on one side of that paper, write what's good in your life. On the other side of that paper, write what's challenging you in your life. And start looking at those things that are good. Now, why are those things good? We talked a little bit about is he staying or is she staying for the sex earlier? Take that one off the
Yeah.
list. You know, that comes later. Take it off the list. Everything else under that. Is this person good to me? Does this person allow me to be good to
Right.
myself? So we look at that what's good in my life, and we say, why is it good?
Exactly.
What have we invested to make that good?
Exactly.
Now we look at the other side, what's bad in my
Right.
life? Now, the first thing we can't do is to say, oh, that was Tonya's fault. If Tonya hadn't done that, I wouldn't have done it. What did I allow Tonya to do to me? Tonya can only do to me what I allow her to do to me. It's nobody's fault but our own.
Yeah.
Now, things happen. People get crazy on you. But then you have an option of putting up with the craziness or walking away. Well, it's not that easy. It's not that easy to walk away. Yes, it is.
It is.
You may have to change
Right.
some things, but you've got to walk away.
Yes.
I walked away from a waterfront house at
Yeah,
Lake
you
Norman.
did. I walked away from my first dream home. BMW sitting in the car. Mine was raggedy. Left his car, left the house, couldn't afford it. I just said I had to start over. I can't do it. I had to make a stand. And that's one thing about us sisters, us as cousins. we not going to stay in a bad situation for the material
Mm-mm.
possessions because we work hard. We can provide ourselves with those things. So that is not going to be a common factor to make your decision. What is it? The decision, what is that? I can't, my mind is tired. That's not going to be the deal breaker to make us stay in a
Right.
bad situation. Alina says women tend to be emotional and fearful. This leads to many cover ups, also not wanting others in our business. And William says it takes time. Fall in love with yourself. Take your time. Anything you do rushing usually turns out to be bad. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. So please answer that. I'm getting Zachary. The coach is dropping
So
him off. Stand right there. Don't go anywhere. Keep talking, cousin.
I want to go back to Alina's. Women tend to be emotional and fearful. Let's push back on that, Alina. People tend to be emotional and fearful. It manifests itself in different ways. Men are emotional and fearful. Men have the same fears that we do. But because society has shaped and formed us in a way that women are second to men, it comes out in different ways. But a lot of times men are making decisions because they are emotional and they're fearful. So we can't discount the feelings of our brothers because they too have um, they do have feelings and emotions, and they act out differently. Um, and a lot of times we'll hear the guy, "Oh, women are just emotional. Women just emotional." Um, so are men. They just act out in different ways. So we can't hang that on just the women. We all have feelings, and we all have buttons that can be pushed.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful of ourselves. Again, dealing with truth. Are we being honest with each other? If we can't communicate with our significant others, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, whatever the case may be, if you can't communicate with them, forget it. Forget it. If I can't communicate with my significant other the way I can communicate with Cousin Tonya, I don't need it. I can look Tonya right in the face and say, Cousin, that's BS.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to laugh, but then she's going to own it
Mm-hmm.
because we're honest with each other. We put up a good front, we put up a good face, and we start telling lies right from the beginning.
That's right.
You know, my mess is raggedy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on it. Once it's out there, then you don't have to play games. Now, I'm not saying this because I don't talk like this, but I quote my dad a lot. My dad said, if you tell a lie, you got to tell a damn lie to
Mm-hmm.
cover it up.
That's right. I'll be honest. Oh, go
So,
ahead. You got some.
so we've got to be honest with one
Mm-hmm.
another, and most of all, we've got to be honest with self. So, as we're looking at two sides of that piece of paper, what's going bad in our lives, we have got to be honest with the list and not blame
Mm-hmm.
others for our shortcomings, not blame others for our fears, not blame others for our emotions, and not blame others for the situations that we are in because it's not anybody's fault but our own. We have the options to change. Is it always easy? No, but we have an option to make it different. And you may have to materially take a few steps back to go
Mm-hmm.
forward, but there is no price that you can put on a
Yes.
peace of mind. There is no price.
Do you want to be? You
There's
don't
no
want to be in a
car.
mental institution. Trust me.
Yeah, there's no car. There's no house.
Mm-mm.
There are no
Mm-mm.
clothes. There's no
Mm-mm.
jewelry that can take the place of
That's
your
right.
peace.
That's right.
And you talk about sexy, there is nothing more sexy than somebody spiritually
Yes.
grounded.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Bianca says it's easy to point out what others did to us. It's easier than owning up to our own stuff at times. But once we get to that moment, we recognize our worth. We begin to see how the things and people around us change as well. That's so true because when we start changing, our circle changes. Don't nobody want to be around somebody
Mm-hmm.
who has a raised bar if they're not trying to do the same and they're not as like minded as you are. They will run from you. And what's wrong with that? You'll see your circle diminishing. You'll see you may have had 15 in your entourage and you end up with two. I've been there. I'm there now. This is my best friend right here. So all the close friends and the buds and the BFFs, they're gone because Tonya, what happened to you? You changed. What's wrong with you?
Thanks be to God you
Yes.
changed.
What's happening to you? Since you wrote them books, you done changed. Yeah, because they were very therapeutic. And what those books let me know was I gotta make some changes. Cause when I did my rereads, I said, oh my gosh, this is me. This ain't nobody else. This is not a character that I made up. So I knew I had to make some changes in order to be the person that I thought I needed to be the best Tonya Barbee, not the mediocre one, the one that's being a doormat, the one that's just being there letting people take advantage and victimizing. No, we're supposed to be victors. We are God's creatures to be loved, adored, uh, treated well, uh no abuse whatsoever. We should never compromise ourselves to be abused.
Mm-mm. One of the things we're talking about tonight is who is the enemy.
Yes.
Go back to the mirror.
Yes.
Nobody can do anything to you that you don't allow them to do. They might do it one time, but that'll be the last time and the only time. He didn't mean to do it. She didn't mean to do it. Yes, they did.
Yes.
That is not love.
Hmm.
If I have a bad day at work and come home and curse you out, that is not
Mm-mm.
love.
And I don't make excuses for it. Well, she had a bad day at work. Oh, there, they got to her today. You gotta step back. Don't go in that room. She's really mad. No,
Mm-mm.
no. Leave your issues at the
Mm-mm.
office. Don't bring that stuff home to your wife and your husband. What is up with that? No, and we need to not
Or
make
hopefully
excuses.
you have a hopefully you have a relationship where I can come home and say, "Hey, Tonya, I had a horrible day at work today."
Right,
And Tanya's gonna say, "Mantha, can I get you a glass of
right,
wine?" Yeah. Versus me just blasting her when I got home. Get out the
right,
way, move. I had a
right.
bad day at work.
What's this food you cook and throw it across the room? Really? No. And that's
Yeah.
how that
I
abuse
don't want that.
starts. Doesn't it start that way? A little bit at a time, gradually. It doesn't just come at you overnight. It's a little bit at a time that you have forgiven, that you have turned the other cheek, and the next thing you know, his fist is in your cheek.
Yeah. That's unacceptable.
Yes.
And that is not love. And they say God is love. Is God going to do that to you?
Right. We talked about that too. God is love. Bianca, look at it. I don't even know if she heard all of us today. And do you hear how you see how God is in line and in sync with all of this that we're talking about, how we have just picked up from one conversation to the other and as if we've been on a conversation for 2 hours. But Bianca says it's crazy how people down us for being emotional. We are here at all the time. Oh, she or he is too emotional. Why not? Why not want someone to have those characteristics? Now, that is true. Why is it having emotions is a bad thing. That's a good point, because I hear that a lot. I scored over the top in emotional intelligence, and everybody in the class laughed at me. But the boss said, the instructor said, she is going to be the one that can save a company, because you guys are so caught up in the bottom line, how much money you're making, that you forgot about the client. You forgot about your customer. You forgot about why you're in the business in the first place. You even forgot about your family, and they all look stupid. But it is a known fact. Emotions, having genuine concern, having feelings, it is being considered a weakness. And why is that?
It's considered a weakness because you're weak yourself if you consider that a weakness.
Mm.
God made us feeling, loving, sharing creatures. So if we come emotionless blocks of wood or blocks of clay, we're the antithesis of what God created us to be in the first place. God created love. God created laughter. God created pain. God created joy.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we going to diminish the power of God in each of us? They say we need to see the image of God
Wow.
when you look at somebody. So if you're looking at your spouse and you look in the eyes and you see the image of God, how can you disrespect? So what does that say? You're not seeing the image of God in your significant other, and you're certainly not seeing the image of God in yourself.
And we should be
So
seeing that that we
go
should be
ahead,
seeing
cousin.
that in ourselves too, cousin. When we look in that
Mm-hmm.
mirror, not an ugly, beat down, married
Yes.
3 times, abused 1 time, abandoned, told we weren't going to amount to nothing. We should not see that image ever when we look in the mirror.
We're looking at the image of God if we're true to self. And that's why it goes back. Where do we start? With
Mm-hmm.
truth. If we are not authentic, we can forget it. Being our authentic selves is difficult at times because we have to face the murk and mire.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to be able to feel in the ruins of life. You've got to be able to feel even when things are not going well. When we shut ourselves off from emotions, we're talking about being emotional. When we shut ourselves off from emotions, we can't feel. We have to feel in the good times and we have to feel in the bad times.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? I never forgot my praise. You got to be able to praise God in the good and the bad. Therefore, then you must be able to see the image of God in yourself and others. When you're able to look at others and see the image of God, you treat people a little bit differently.
Wow.
It doesn't matter if they're black, white, gay, straight, orange, purple, Asian, African. It doesn't matter because we are made in the image of God.
Mm.
And when we cease to be able to accept that or to love that, we start diminishing ourselves step by step by step. And we order our own steps in accordance to it. And when we start ordering our own steps, we're going to go right into a wall
Wow.
because it's not based on authenticity. There's only one God.
Wow.
So if we walk into the fullness of what God is for us as best we can understand it in our own humanity, we can't treat people like crap.
Mm-hmm.
We can't treat ourselves like crap. I love God too much to be anything less than fabulous.
Wow. So that's why you who you are, cousin.
Yeah, I'm
I
fabulous
love
with
it.
Jesus.
I love it. I love it. See what I mean, y'all? Um, cousin, you have William. and Emmanuel. I want you to get to know Emmanuel because he's in the same line of work all the way in Africa. Um, they're all talking
Ah,
about communication, and that's the key in the relationships. And we have to express ourselves to be happy, and if and or not, both have to be willing to work it out or let it go. That's the key. Let it go.
mm-hmm.
And Alina says trust, self-worth, and communications are vital in relationships as well as friendships. I agree with you, Alina. um, and time, Emmanuel added, time also is very important. You can't fall in love in 6 months talking about y'all getting ready to get married. He gonna be your husband because you really don't know him in 6 months. He's showing you only everything he's got that's good. He may not have the physical makeup on, but he is wearing the makeup. Trust me on that one.
Number one.
Yes.
Started planning that wedding
Right.
immediately.
You got to really watch out for somebody trying to lock you in 6 months. Read the book. I've been there, done that. It's no such thing as love in 6 months. Let's get married. You don't know that person yet. There, you have to spend time with them to know what you don't like and what you can't get along with that person to see whether or not that's going to make you a connected be in a relationship where it works. You have to know things about that person that you don't even like to see, can you live with them? You may not even be able to do that based on the little bitty things that add up, and it may be a big thing, like he has a very he lies, or worse, he's abusive. He's verbally abusive. He's always putting you
He's
down. He's
bipolar.
bipolar. Exactly. You don't learn all that in 6 months. Not if he got some good medicine. So you got to take all that in fact. You got to factor that in. So, spiritual brother, you're right. Time is important. William says you have to learn from your mistakes and your flaws. If you don't, you're going to be replaying that. Absolutely. It's like going
Yeah.
in circles. And and what I don't understand is why, and I know I sound impatient sometimes, but I'm hard on myself because I saw myself going in circles. Like, what in the world? I just had a husband. That didn't work. What in the world? I didn't had another one. Well, the common denominator in all of that was me. So I had to do the list, the pluses and the minuses about Tonya Barbee. And the pluses were there, but the minuses were overwhelming. I have a
That's what I said.
fear
Write
of
them down.
abandonment. Oh, I'm gonna dump him before he dumped me. Um, um, fear of not having a family. So that means you compromise all kinds of things just to say I'm married and we have a nice home. He has a good job, I got a good job. Oh, we're such a oh, let's put the white picket fence up. No, it was not a family. It was destructive. And we gotta disconnect from destroying our lives because that is all that is. It's destructive
It
and
was a
it's hurting
facade.
us the most. And that's a talk about a
Yeah. It's a
broken
facade.
vessel. You can't get no broken than that. Um,
You know, Tanya's book is A Rose is Still a Rose. You put a rose in a vessel in a vase with a hole in it. It's not going to
oh
be a
my
rose.
gosh, you're so right.
Hey, Karita, you got to do it.
Yes. Emmanuel says,
And you, Bianca. Oh,
he says,
go
I
ahead, cousin.
think the reason why most relationships doesn't exist is because we don't pay attention to each other's selfishness. We don't pay enough attention to each other, and that becomes our selfishness within each other. And that's true because now we are becoming so self-centered. Where'd that come from? We don't even get to know each other because we so into ourselves, but we ain't loving on ourselves. We're just in a facade, and it takes work. to keep up a facade. That's like another full-time job.
Yeah, it's the text tells us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Your neighbor can be anybody. Your neighbor can be living in the house with you. If you don't love yourself, how in the world are you going to love your neighbor? It's impossible. And Bianca says we always meet the representatives in the beginning. We don't have to. We come with our full
Yes.
truth, and we need to come with. And people say I'm kind of blunt. I really don't care.
Exactly. And that's where I am too. We talked about that earlier. It is what it is. I'm wondering why nobody said, "Oh, she's just an angry black woman." I haven't heard that yet, but it's you're not taking any prisoners. You don't compromise your standards anymore. Your
Mm-mm.
bar remains raised. You don't lower it. You don't lower it all the way to the floor to let somebody walk over you. All that changes. And that's what I challenge others to do. To change, raise that bar to be the best that they can be. And if you're right, if you love yourself and see yourself as God sees you, you will not let anybody destroy you.
Mm-mm. No, you can't. You can't do that. It is self-worth, and I know there are things in life that challenge us, that bring us down, that weigh very heavily on us, and sometimes the weight can be so heavy we don't even know how we're going to get up in the morning, much less
That's true.
pull ourselves up to do what's best. But something within has to happen, starting on our knees and say, "Make me whole, Lord,"
Yes.
and honestly surrender it.
Yeah.
And it's a spiritual healing.
It.
Everybody might not be Christian, but whoever you pray to, pray for wholeness.
Yeah.
Because when we are whole, we are offering our best selves. We're offering our best selves in relationship. We are offering our best selves at work. We are offering our best selves in community. And we're ultimately offering our best selves to God. We've got to be honest. And it's not always easy to be honest, but it's always
Mm-hmm.
necessary to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And and sometimes if we have to leave a relationship because it's not good for
Right.
us, we feel empty at the end of the day. Why is that empty to have made a good choice? Then we'll say, you have to ask yourself that question: why am I feeling so empty, so alone, when I've left an abusive situation, an angry situation, a situation that was sucking the very life
Mm-hmm.
out of me? Why am I feeling empty? Sometimes we can get used to the drama,
Yes.
and we like the
Right.
drama. It gives us something to do.
Yes.
Find something to do that enriches your spirit and enriches your soul, so you don't have to go exteriorly to
Mm.
fulfill
That is
yourself.
so true.
You got to be happy with self.
Yeah.
If you're not happy with self, you're not going to ever be happy with anybody else.
Absolutely. Alina says, God is my life force, my spirit, my brother, my little brother says, the closer we walk, this your new little cousin. The closer we walk with God, the better us we have to give in all types of ways. And Bianca says, fabulous with Jesus. I love it. And we always meet the representatives in the beginning. You gotta make sure that representation is permanent or only temporary. And that's when the Bible talks about seasonal. Everybody ain't meant to be in your life on a permanent basis. Sometimes he or she is brought there just for a mission. You don't pull them in to force them to stay there. It was only for a short period of time. That's a good point. Very good point.
Said, don't keep misery. Don't keep, William said, don't keep misery to keep a family.
Ooh.
Misery will not keep a family.
Ooh.
Misery will destroy a
Yes, it
family.
will.
Oh, well, I want to stay together for the kids. Remember what we talked about in the
Yes.
beginning? You are raising adults. You are not
That's right.
raising kids. So if you stay together for the kids and you got drama in your household, your spouse is coming home drunk every night, but I can't leave him because, little Junior won't have a
Right.
dad, or little Junior.
Right.
You are teaching little Junior to be an
Exactly.
alcoholic, and you are teaching little Junior to put up with
Yes.
that.
And be the same with his
So
wife.
that's
Be the
misery.
same with his
And
wife.
be the same with his wife.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
William says you have to work on you and give the best you can give, but accept nothing less than what you are going to give. Let it be the same or greater. And that's what we don't do. I don't understand that. We'll give somebody 190%, and we'll accept them giving us 10, and they're gladly taking
Ooh,
150. Oh, ooh, Tanya's so good to me.
absolutely.
And they know they're not
Oh, yes.
reciprocating. We know they're not reciprocating. Why do we keep that person in our lives? And that's not about money. It's about everything. It's about going in 150 and they can't even give you nothing but 10. And that's just showing up. That's nothing extra. I don't know why we do that. I don't know.
Talk about investments. Is that a good investment?
Right.
That is not a good return on
Oh, I
investment.
love it.
Is your life and your spirit and your soul so diminished that you can't even invest in yourself? Look at the return if you invest in yourself. If you turn, what year did your dad die, Tanya?
99.
So if you turn the clock back to
Mm-hmm.
99, and it's 2018
Mm,
now.
mm, mm.
If Tanya and I had not invested in ourselves and we were still the women we were in 99, that is nothing less than pathetic.
That's right. I would still.
So do we choose to be pathetic?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We.
So is that 10% good enough for you? If you eat 10% of your nutritional value every day,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to live? No. If you go to work 10% of the time, are you going to keep your job? No.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
So so if your mate is giving you 10%, why do you even accept that? You don't accept it anywhere else.
Absolutely. So why accept it at home?
Why accept it in your
Yes.
spirit? And I think that's a key point that we have to focus on
Yes.
tonight. We're talking about spiritual health.
Yes.
And when you are spiritually healthy, you're at peace with self and with God. You will be at peace with others. You see things differently. You experience life differently. And that broken vessel starts to heal.
Yes.
That it
It
stops
stops
leaking.
leaking.
Because things happen, we bump into things and we break it from time to time. But we also, through time, know how to fix
Right.
it. We can't allow it to stay
Mm-mm.
broken. And what happens, our self-esteem goes up,
Yeah.
up, up,
Yeah.
up. And we go, no, no, no. I can't walk around with a hoopty
Right.
vessel. I got to fix
Right.
my vessel. It's
Right.
unacceptable.
And we should be aware of that vessel. Since we have gotten educated tonight, everybody, on what that vessel is, we should be aware of it. We should know when it needs to be healed. It needs to be mended. It needs to be filled up with love again, because you can feel it leaking. We should be able to recognize those symptoms within ourselves. William says, find you someone who is close to God, and not saying they better than the ones who don't, but I'll take my chances with the one that is close to God, for I know he respects me and living and trying to live God's way. Tina says
Yes.
yes. And don't keep misery to keep a family, like you already covered that one. Trust God that he has something better for you. And that's the thing a lot of us don't trust. We're impatient, we instant
Mm-mm.
gratification. Oh, it's going to take me forever to meet somebody else. At least I know her. At least I know him. Oh, we're so familiar. We know what each other likes. We know this, we know that. But all that to me is so superficial. It's just so superficial.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned friends a little
Mhm.
bit earlier, Tonya, and how your friends will
Mhm.
diminish. If you call friends and say, he did or she did X, Y, and Z to me, and they start making excuses
Mhm.
for you, they don't have your
Right.
best interest. Versus I called Tonya and said, girl, I'm
Mhm.
raggedy today. She said, cousin, what did
Right.
you do?
That's exactly right. Mhm.
Cousin, what did
Mhm.
you do? And when I answered the question, she said, no,
Mhm.
cousin, no. I'm not going to get mad at her and
Mhm.
hang up because she's a true friend. Yeah, we're related too, but she's a
Right.
true friend, and I know she's going to come at me
Right.
in truth. If you're going to call that girlfriend and she's going to bash that man on your
Mhm.
because you got to own your own stuff.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Things in life happen that cause your vessel to
Right.
leak, no doubt,
Right.
no doubt.
That's right.
Stuff happens, but you don't make excuses for the
Mm-mm.
stuff.
And you don't stay there. You don't keep you see your vessel leaking and you sitting there looking at it, not doing anything to replenish it, not to do anything to restore it. You're still there. You're still stagnant. Alina says, I found true happiness when I found my true self. I refuse to
Yeah.
accept other values, feelings that is forced my way. I agree with you, to compromise your values. We do that all the time, and to keep a person in our lives who we know shouldn't be in our lives, we sacrifice our happiness, our standards, our way of life, our morals. But it's all around. It's on TV. The Kardashian family. Oh man, the 21-year-old billionaire. All these kids. Well, we ain't seen one marriage on television, but Kim's. Um, all these kids coming up all over the place. The structure, the morals is gone. What is going on? It's just
But we have to ask ourselves, what is our moral compass?
yes. Yes.
You don't have to get somebody else's moral compass. What is
Yes.
your own personal moral
Yes.
compass?
Yes.
What are you subscribed to?
Absolutely.
That's not good enough for
Mm-mm.
me.
Mm-mm.
So, when is it that we get to a point where we say, enough is
Yes.
enough?
And we have
I want to be better. I want to do
yes.
better. And well, I just don't want to be by
Absolutely.
myself. My mama always says, you can do bad by
Absolutely.
yourself. You don't have to be bad with somebody else.
Absolutely. William says, never settle for nothing less than what you have to give, no matter how cute or fine she is. Sometimes looks blind us from what is good for us. Oh, I like that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's real good.
My first husband was
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Cray cray.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, you're right. It's not worth
Mm-mm.
it. It's not worth it. And I think we need to perhaps examine what our definition of good looking is.
Exactly. Exactly. And really define that and stay off the surface, because eventually The women gonna have a bald spot right there. Well, you gotta cover it up like this, put a pen on it. The men, all this gonna be gone before you know it. They swooping their head to the side. Um, Body parts gonna stop working. So you gotta get beyond that physical thing and really deal with, like cousin said, the spirit. And we got to do a better job of knowing what we want in life, but you never know what you want until you start loving on yourselves and doing that list. Because that list can define where you went wrong and where you're determined not to go wrong again.
Yeah. And where you went
Yes.
right. We don't do it all bad. We're not all bad
Yes.
people. We do make mistakes. You know, we talk about sin in the life of the church, sin. The Greek for sin is hamartia.
Mm,
Actually, what it means is to miss the mark. We miss the mark
right.
sometimes, but that doesn't mean we don't go after it again.
Exactly. You never give up. And William says, know your worth. Hey, John, know your worth. You are a queen. If you're not going to be treated like one, keep it moving. Don't settle for less. Never. Good things come to those who wait. Yes, it gets lonely, but patience, patience. That patience can save you so much drama. And Alina adds, since going on a diet, I now realize I needed to not help everyone, but to put God first, then myself. That you guys are right on tonight. We got to have patience. Stop looking for instant gratification because you're going to get some junk coming through your door. And once we put God first, you ain't going to do nothing but love yourself. And if you put that list that cousin was just talking about, the crap that got you in this mess, and what you like about yourself, and start dealing with that crap so that you can have more on that what I like about myself, you'd be surprised at how you can see yourself grow. You'll be amazed at yourself. Talk about a diet. You'll have a diet on the weight side and a diet on the spirit side. And that bar is going to be so
Yeah,
high.
say that.
That bar is going to be so high. The dogs won't even come anywhere within 50 yards because they can smell a successful person that also has a successful spirit. And they don't want any part. If they're coming to dog, they will run the other way. And don't be upset when you see everybody fleeing from you, to include your friends. That just means you got a clean house around all the way around. It might even be family members.
Because and take that a step
Mm-hmm.
further. We attract what we are.
Yes.
If you are not about anything, you are going to attract people that are not about
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
When you're living into life and being your fullest
Yes.
self, people just fall out of the sky. And you go, whoa, where'd you come from?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You attract what you
Yes,
are.
and what we always talk about, Gary, thank you. Good to see Black people having an intelligent conversation. Um, when you are broken, you you brokenness begets brokenness. Y'all, that's a good book title. Don't steal it. Brokenness. If you're out there broken, you're going to attract more broken people. And I wondered why I got so many divorces. I was broken. So I kept meeting
Yeah.
some they did everything but have an eye hanging down here. They were just as crazy and jacked up as I was. Now I got mental illness in my family. I'm not trying to downgrade mental illness because I was there, so I understand the pain and the anguish. But when you go out in the streets to meet people and you broke, your spirit is broken, you are not gonna meet Prince Charming. You gonna meet Prince Frog, and he gonna always be the frog. He ain't turning into the prince because you are broken too. So you just attracted more brokenness. And then y'all have kids together. Oh my gosh. And you wonder why one getting shot, one is all maimed, one is on drugs, one don't know what they want to do, one is cutting up in school. Y'all started this mess broken, and you created a family from brokenness, and nobody wants to accept being healed. And we can start. You don't have to run to a therapist. Just like cousin said, write the list. A lot of this write down all your, journal your problems. If you journal your problems and reread them, you will see the culprit. You will see the culprit if you are honest with yourself.
Probably standing in the
Yes.
mirror.
And cousin, I've always said to my readers and viewers and listeners that look in the mirror long enough to cry. That's
Hmm.
a powerful practice. When you know something ain't right within your spirit, stare in that mirror and just keep staring until you cry. You are healing yourself because you are so
What do you see?
broken with what you see in that mirror. Once you get beyond that, you're fabulous because you've gotten beyond that pain. You got it, that you've gone through some issues, and you're doing what you can to rectify those issues so you won't keep repeating them. Who wants to keep repeating mistakes and being in broken relationships over and over and over again, and then having the nerve to say I do more than one time, and you still are broken? Next thing you know, you done said it 4 times, and the courtroom is saying to you, weren't you just here a year ago? Really? Tonya Barbee, are you back again?
Y'all cousins been married more than me.
The judge could barely see. So he's like looking around in the room. He's like, Tonya Barbee, is that you again? Oh, it was so embarrassing. And I did not cry. I said, Tonya, you know, you got to get yourself together. The judge knows your name. This is too much. You got to get yourself together, girlfriend. Oh, gosh. So, y'all, don't take offense. Don't be ready to write the judge up because he calling you out. Sometimes we need to be called out in order to get our lives in check. And when me and cousin
That would be on the
went
list.
to Puerto Rico, we put it on the table. Well, my mama said this. Well, my mama said this. Well, my dad said this. And when we put it out on the table, we made intelligent decisions from something versus nothing going on hearsay. We put all that to the side. And that's what we need to do in our own personal lives. We need to confront the madness and deal with it so that we can become better people, and so that we can select better people for those in our lives. Somebody says, I love you, big sis. Nice to meet you, cousin. I got daddy duties. Got to get baby girl to school. Good night. We love you too. We'll see you next time.
Love you, William.
So,
But this is the
uh-huh.
thing too. Don't be afraid to ask your uh, potential significant others serious questions.
Yes.
Tell me about your life from 0 to 12 because that's where we're formulated.
Yeah.
And if it's a whole lot of drama, you're going to learn a whole lot about that person.
That's beautiful. We're gonna
It makes you who you are as an
We're
adult.
gonna, on that note, I have Reverend Allison. She was on here earlier, Reverend Allison Daniels. I would like you two to help us put together just those list of questions for when we're out here dating. She gave me 9. You just added some good ones. we need to really interview people that we want in our lives. Now, you can't sit there all jacked up. Now, what did you do 3 years ago? You can't sit there, you all jacked up, broken down, and you interviewing somebody. This is when you have gotten yourself together, you've gotten prepared, you have raised the bar, you're not compromising, and now you are prepared, you are ready to ask these questions, and you are qualified to ask these questions because you done cleaned yourself, you done damage control, you done fixed all that's broken. Yeah, we're not perfect, but you know what you have worked on. You don't need to go into somebody who you got to fix, because then you're starting all over again. So you do have to ask questions, but you can't be broken going in there with your nose up asking all these questions. You got too much work to do yourself. And I was there, so I can speak on that. Trust me. But cousin, we do need to get some questions out there to people so we can really help them, those that are out there dating and stuff.
One thing that that we'll also see is when you are honestly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
honestly doing your own
Yes.
work, you will see mess in other people a mile
Yes.
away. You don't even have
That
to
is
ask
so
the
true.
question.
That is so true, cousin. You see it. You smell it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like,
Mm-hmm.
mm-mm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not messing with
Exactly.
that. Instead of getting caught up so much, I gotta have somebody, I gotta have somebody, I gotta
Right.
have somebody. That is gonna destroy you and rip you
Absolutely.
apart. Because you allow it, not their fault. You allow it.
Exactly.
So when you do your own work, you start seeing things. You're able to sense things
Absolutely.
because you've done your own work. Again, you cannot present somebody a gift in a broken vessel
Right.
and expect it to hold water. You cannot. It's not fair to a future partner, and it's not fair to self because you're setting yourself up for
Mm-hmm.
failure.
You are.
Where's the good in that? We need to present our best selves, and the only way to do that is sometimes to step back, be quiet.
Yes. Be quiet. Yeah.
We like noise because it distracts us. So we have to step back and examine who we are in relationship to God, who we are in relationship to self, and how we have been in relationship to others.
Yes.
And when we can come authentically to all three of those elements, we start seeing our lives change.
Yeah.
We start seeing a difference. And Tonya said something very, very profound a little bit earlier. She said sometimes you even have to step away from your family.
Yes.
And we've both
Yes,
done
we
that.
have. Mm-hmm.
And we stepped to family that we were actually kind of told to step away
Right.
from.
That's right.
As y'all are looking at
That's
both of them.
right. Absolutely. So true. Alina says, step up your game as you prepare to add persons to your life, your family, and your friends. And Katina says, you can discern people. Katina, I had to pray to God to give me discernment because I did not have it. I was very gullible. That's how I got married 4 times. I was like believing everything I heard. So I asked God, God, make me not be so gullible. I can't believe everything I hear. And do you know, He gave it to me to the extent where I can be talking to a woman and I can feel her saying, I'm not listening to her. She make me sick. She thinks she all high and mighty. I hear her saying that while I'm having a conversation with her. And I said, oh my God, take it away. Because this is too much. I can't even finish talking to her without getting distracted with my thoughts of what her thoughts are. So it's gotten so big now that I can tell in a conversation when a woman is hurting and when she's asking me a question for her or her friend or so forth. And it is the most frightening experience I've ever had, but I have asked for that because I was so gullible. I believed everything. Everything. I wanted the white picket fence. So of course I'm gonna believe everything. I was in fairy tale lane. And it got me in so much trouble. And Alina, on the prepared note, I was on one night live FaceTime, and I talked about, I even tried to sing, but I didn't have her song instrumental. Jill Scott on prepared. I want to be prepared. Get your life right. And somebody on here mentioned diet. Get your life right. Cleanse from the top to the bottom, mentally, physically. Then go out here and start interviewing your mate, your potential mate. But if you don't do those things first, you'll be writing a book just like me. Whoa, what in the world did I do? I had 4 husbands. I was I was all over the place. And I can't blame any of them. They saw me coming. So I got to take responsibility for that. But now I'm prepared. So the circle's smaller. I eat lunch at work by myself. I may have one person trickle over there every now and then, but my whole life has changed as a result of me making some changes. And I'm not sad about it, and I'm not lonely about it. I have learned that I had to grow, and that's what I've done. It is what it is. Hey, Drew, Ladrine, thanks for joining us. Your cousin's online tonight.
Hey, Drew.
Listen, go to bed, Mom. We're talking some important stuff around here. You need to listen. That's
Boy,
right.
hush.
So, in closing, cousin, what would you like to share with our viewers and listeners tonight about healing that vessel?
I think it's a good old song that says, "There's a balm in Gilead
Mm-hmm.
to heal the sin sick soul."
Mm-hmm.
Our souls are hurting. Our souls need healing. Some of our souls are damaged from 5 years old, 12 years
Mm-hmm.
old, 20 years old, 30 years old. But we can claim that as our story and stick with it, or we can write a new
Yes,
chapter. And everybody on here tonight has an opportunity to write a new chapter.
that's beautiful.
We've been given gifts beyond anything we could possibly imagine. We need to clean house, our spiritual
Yes.
houses, so that we can make room to grow. It's like planting a garden in our spirits. You've got to water it, you've got to nurture the soul, you've got to plant the seeds deep, you got to do everything you can do to make sure your rose is a beautiful
Mm.
rose. And so when you clip that rose and put it in that vessel and sit it on the middle of your table, it's nothing but
Yeah.
beauty. And that beauty is found in the wholeness of spirit. Don't let anybody rob you of spiritual joy. There are a lot of souls diseases floating
Mm-hmm.
out in this world. We live in a very
Yes.
angry world. And if we're not careful, we can absorb all that anger and become that and act out of that. Well, we can act out of the willingness and the need and the desire to be everything that God has made us to
Yeah.
be. Embrace it, live into it, and walk into the fullness of life. It's your choice. We have choices. Don't let anybody take you out of character. Be the best you can possibly be mentally, physically, socially, emotionally, financially, everything. Be the best you can be so you don't have to depend on anybody so that you can present yourself fully to that partner
That's
and be made whole.
That's beautiful. Do whatever we need to do to make us better than who we are today. And once we do that, we will attract nothing but the best in all those areas: finances, love, work, all of the above. I agree with you, cousin. That's beautiful. I'm so glad you joined us. You're gonna have to come back on. You know that, right?
My pleasure.
Okay. You guys, when you're in Charlotte, tell them what you're doing, where you're gonna be, and all that stuff with and your church, so they can know on the back end.
Come see us at Statesville Avenue Presbyterian Church in Charlotte, 3435 Nevin Road. I am the pastor, and our service is at 11 o'clock. You are welcome. I don't care who you are welcome at the invitation of Jesus Christ. If you're ever in Charlotte, just call me. You can Google me. Just put, if you can't remember anything else, it's Amantha without the S, Amantha, Amantha Presbyterian. You'll
And you
find
can
me.
always find her through me, you guys. And don't forget, Tonya Barbee, I Am Still a Rose. In spite of it all, it's fresh. It's been selling. People are giving me great comments. It's changing their lives. If you need to change your life, that book will help you change your life. But God is the first and foremost that can help you change your life. You got to have faith in God. Alina says sometimes past experiences provides future knowledge to create a better life. That is so true. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for what I've been through, and I'm grateful for it now.
Amen.
I was ashamed, especially when that judge called me out. Tonya Barbee, you're back again in the courtroom. What are you in here for now? So that was embarrassing. Ladrine says, share your address. Yes, we'll do that. Oh, you just did. And I'm speaking in Charlotte in November and would love to join your service. See, I just tell you, Lord, this sisterhood, I just love it. Ladrine is one of our co-authors in sharing our prayers, and she's doing it is her business, and she's out there promoting people to get beyond their procrastinating behavior and encouraging them to move beyond that so that they can get what they want done in life. So some powerful women on here.
Cousin Ton, Cousin Sharon Ford just joined us. Sharon Ford is the queen of getting over
Oh,
procrastination. Hey, Sharon.
nice. See there how we just pulling them all together here tonight. God is so wonderful. He just making it happen. Thank you for joining us, Sharon. Well, y'all came kind of late because we about to close out. We had 15 minutes of technical issues. Where the button at? I can't find the button. I'm like, oh, this is so
Push the
embarrassing.
button.
And then I got people on the call. We had like 12 people. Tonya, what's going on? Tell her to push the button. Oh, she might not have a button. Oh, it was embarrassing, but we got there, y'all. This was important. It just shows you how that darkness didn't want us to get on tonight, but we got on. And I believe we've impacted some lives tonight. People are going to be making some changes in their lives. And that's what it's all about. We got to grow. We got to grow to become the best that we can be. And I know we can do it. I did it. Cousin did it. So I know you can do it too. And if you've already done it, you can help us encourage others to do the same thing. So we
Amen.
love you. Come join us again. We got to have cousin back. I'll be on WBGR next week at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time online network. I Am Still a Rose is out there on Amazon and all the other places books are sold. It's doing well. Give me your feedback, please. And I thank you all. Asia's just joining us. Asia, you're going to have to see it later because we're getting ready to close out. We thank you for joining. Michelle is joining us. Lord have mercy, y'all. We can't be on here all night long, but we have enjoyed Amantha. Cousin Amantha, I love you so much.
I love you
You
too,
have
baby.
helped me in so many ways. And I just want to
Same
let
here.
you know you can never leave me because I need you in my life. I need you.
No,
Okay.
ma'am. You got too
I
much mess
know,
on
and
me.
likewise, and likewise. Yosef says, I have my show myself. That's why I'm late. I'll watch it later on. Yosef is one, Amantha, I want you to get to know. He's really good. He
Okay.
needs to visit your church. He needs to, you guys need to hook up as well. Good, and we got a cousin that just joined. Barbie's online. This is Emil. He's online. He lives up here with DMV. Hey, Emil. Wanda's here. Hey, Wanda saying we got to grow. Yes, we have to grow. I love you all. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Watch this live. Please share it with others that you know it can help. And we're going to make this happen. We're going to be prepared for what we know we need in our lives. We're going to raise that bar. We're going to take it to another level, and we're not going to lower our standards for anyone, not even ourselves. We love you. I'm still a Rose in spite of it all. Thank
I'm
you,
still a Rose.
cousin. I love you. Tell Auntie I said hey.
God bless, baby.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Good
Good
night.
night.